Hey guys, it's Parker and let's talk FreeCon19. FreeCon, as you might imagine, is a free entry anime and gaming convention held at Florida State University in Tallahassee, Florida. And in case anyone else was confused, this year was their 19th year, hence the 19. It did not have anything to do with the date, which is what I originally thought. Entertaining around 2,000 guests in most recent years, the convention is staffed entirely by volunteers, most of which are FSU students or alumni. FreeCon has just what you'd picture from other conventions of its type, including a cosplay competition, a karaoke competition, panels, an idol fest, and even a maid cafe. Not to mention a pretty killer vendors hall and artist alley considering the con's size. So I hope your interest is piqued because I will be showing you guys my adventure going to FreeCon19 this year, since it was also the very first convention I've ever guested for. We begin our adventure arriving late Thursday night into the Jacksonville airport, where Pins and Snip retrieved me before a long drive back to their home, where I said hello to all the cats, explored my new room, said thank you for my presents, and promptly passed out. Once it was well and truly Friday, it was time for con prep. That meant accounting for all of our costume pieces, steaming costumes, running errands, and arguably most exciting, deciding our guest booth setups. Pins and Snip, being local to the area, plan to show off their amazing cosplay construction skills by displaying different pieces they've made throughout the years, all of which I was happy to say I'd gotten to see come to life in the last decade of being their friend. Snip, wanting to display their Bandai Samurai General Darth Vader, got to work on making a mannequin of sorts using PVC pipe, which arguably worked so well that people kept thinking it was a person. Since I flew in and admittedly don't make large cosplay works, Pins had the idea to turn my booth into a fantasy-themed selfie photo spot, which ended up being the best idea and felt very on brand. People stopping by to take pictures was honestly a highlight for me, and having a guest booth meant that I had the best seat in the house for people watching, which is arguably my favorite convention hobby. Luckily, we were able to drop by FSU Friday night and set up the majority of our booths then, so that made Saturday morning so much easier. And after a very productive day, we got ourselves insomnia cookies and boba and called it an early night. And just like that, it was time for the con. We arrived around 9, finished setting up our booths, registered for the con, got our guest badges, and our responsibilities started pretty much immediately. While I went off to judge and host the karaoke competition, the majority of the rest of the guests headed to do pre-judging for the cosplay competition, where they stayed for the majority of the day. I did not film any of the karaoke contest because I was too busy judging. The karaoke competition was a lot of fun, and picking a winner was tough. There were a lot of really great voices showcased, which made my job a little difficult. I admittedly spent a lot of my time Saturday at the booth, answering what questions I could regarding my friend's craftsmanship and partaking in the art of people watching, with a surprise visit from Pins, who was bound and determined to cosplay parent everyone and brought materials to serve as a cosplay repair station. Then before we knew it, it was time for the cosplay competition, which I also ended up hosting very last minute. I had an absolute blast, and thank goodness that my co-host and guest handler, Magnolia, put up with me.
Everybody liked my hair like 3 years ago.
The competition itself was fantastic, with tons of different levels and types of craftsmanship on display. I've personally never been interested in competing in cosplay competitions, but let me tell you, I'd MC one again any day. There was one moment that really reminded me why I love the community surrounding these sorts of events. When our last contestant had an issue with sound sensitivity, the entire auditorium had absolutely no issue accommodating. No questions asked.
We have a request from our next one, so although I have been asking you to clap for everyone, which is very kind of you, due to some sound sensitivity, we're going to ask you guys to be quiet for this one, so if everybody can just do this. Yeah. That would be great. Thank you. Next up, we have Sarah, who is dressed as Katara from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Music really did say. Thank you so much, Sarah. And we're going to keep doing this for a little while until we never back to
All right.
God, I love this community. Thank you so much.
There's just something about this moment and the joy that it brought not only Sarah, who is that wonderful Katara cosplayer, but everyone there that restored some of my faith in humanity and served as a really strong reminder of why I am still in this community nearly a decade after I started cosplaying.
It's perfect.
All right, and so that means our best in show is Morgan.
FreeCon's Best in Show went to Morgan as their OC Jester, which was immaculately crafted, and I'd buy it as a plush any day. And then our guest duties were all but done for the day, so we did as cosplayers want to do. Immediately started a photo shoot.
All of our responsibilities.
They're gone.
Yep.
I don't do all of mine with the energy.
You should.
That tastes like chemicals.
And with that, the first day of FreeCon was successfully conquered, and so was my very first day guesting at a convention. So wigs were yeeted and comfy clothes found so that guests and friends could find food together. Food adventures aside, the guests that I got to work with this convention that you can find tagged throughout this video were some of the sweetest people that I could have imagined working with. They were so lovely and welcoming, and they made my first guesting experience really good. Sunday of the con proved to be quite a bit more relaxed, with plenty of time for us to sit at our booths, enjoy our fellow guest panels, and explore the vendors hall and artist alley. I mentioned it briefly earlier, but I was really impressed with this part of the convention overall. There were so many things I wanted and admittedly got, including keychains of some of my favorite Genshin boys and these adorable Hu Tao ghost earrings. Plus, Pins got me these little sword earrings, and they even got a purple pair to match. Having less specific con responsibilities also meant we could sneak off to explore FSU a little bit and find perfect photo spots. The college campus worked perfectly for Ami in her school uniform. I really felt like I was living my anime intro dreams. Then Pins, Snip, and I wrapped up our FreeCon by going to our very first Maid Cafe experience, run by the Heartstring Maid Cafe. It was a super cute event, worth the time waiting in line. We played games, ate cupcakes, and even got to watch a performance. Our maid Mochi was just the cutest, and all the other maids seemed to be having so much fun. Definitely keep an eye on their socials and try to catch their next event if you're in the area. Then it was sadly time to break down our booths and hit the road.
It was so fun getting to hang out with you. All Matt, yeah. I'll see y'all in a year. In a year.
All in all, I'd highly recommend FreeCon if you're around the Tallahassee area. It had a lot to offer, especially considering it was completely free. Tons of events, panels, plenty of food options close by, cute photo spots, and honestly just a really nice vibe.
We want to thank you to all the artists, the vendors, and the cosplayers. Thank you. Big round of applause. Thank you for working with us. We hope to see you next year. Thank you.
Thanks again to FreeCon19 for giving me my very first guest experience. And who knows, maybe I'll see you guys there next year for the 20th anniversary. A huge shout out to my friend Em for letting me borrow their vlogging camera for my adventures this year. Make sure you're subscribed if you want to follow me for more con vlogs and Ren Fair reviews and just more general adventures. If you're interested in my other content, make sure you're following me on social media. And if you're looking for behind the scenes and bloopers like the ones for this video, you can find that over on my Patreon. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you next time. We begin our adventure with arriving late Thursday night into the Jacksonville airport, where I am... Why did I suddenly become very Southern?